Rusty and Steve a key part of it. Yet the biggest hit, they weren't part of the write.
Mm.
They didn't write.
Yeah, funny old world. No, it's, what can you say, you know, it's, they were, to a certain extent, headhunting me, for musical side of things. Rusty was a big fan, and Steve was, of Systems of Romance. They knew we'd got something, and I came along and delivered. And if they were short of something, I came on and gave them that. So, there we go, you know, that's it. It's business, isn't it? I'm a cow, aren't I? No, have you,
that's fine. No,
yeah.
that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Ultravox. Tell us a little bit about After Vienna, All Stood Still and The Thin Wall. How did those two tracks come about?
Sorry, could you just say that one again? Sorry.
Obviously After Vienna was a big hit, and then you released
Yeah.
2 other singles. Just tell us a little bit about how they came about, you know, the writing process.
For Thin Wall and stuff. And which ones, other ones that you mean?
All Stood Still?
All Stood Still was on the Vienna album. All Stood Still was one that was definitely one of the early mid-tempo ones that we did. Yeah, when we first started rehearsing with Midge earlier on. That was a very much like an equal, everybody contributing at once and quite fired up, you know, it was a good, and with the repeating backing vocal thing as well, you know, answering thing. It was a real group vibe, you know. Like I said, when we did Rage in Eden, it was actually really a strange atmosphere. I mean, we veered more to the electronic with the Thin Wall and more sterile, you know, atmosphere, cold vibe of it was more of an album. I mean, Vienna was really bringing the vibe in from playing live. We just banged them down like we were playing live, whereas this one was quite calculated. And as I remember, Connie, I heard through a friend who used to come up, and the local German guys that used to come, musicians, like the guy from Cannes, Olga Shukai and stuff, he said that when we left, he said that this album was literally, they get every drum beat, every note, drag it out, polish it, you know, and he was like, thank God they've gone, you know what I mean? It was quite a heavy album, you know, it was an intense album. And to give an example of the Thin Wall, I wrote the backing music for that, apart from Midge came up with the guitar riff. We hadn't got much, we used to get jam, you know, we used to keep that jam sort of vibe. And the guitar riff came from a jam, you know, and he plonked that on there. And I quite like Thin Wall, but it's definitely got the feeling of like being quite sort of like you go here, you go there, and quite often drum machines used to do that sometimes. Used to sometimes take the dynamics out of it, and you found yourself having to work harder to change things, you know, your chords have to be even more obvious to do something with it. And, you know, I mean, like I say, it was quite a hard, there was one track from that which was happily titled Death in the Afternoon. Sorry, excuse me, it was a long time ago. I was well pleased when it was titled that. Now, I had this lovely, this melody, which I'd actually had from doing the demos for Systems of Romance. I worked at home on a Revox 4-track, and there was one melody, that was the melody used from there, so I had some ammunition to use from the past.
What did you think?
But like I say, overall, it's really hard for me to get into the album now, because it's like it was an interesting album. I'd still like the album, you know. Because we were slightly short of ideas of songs, it was a case of, on the second side, I steamed in and actually wrote this instrumental bit. It was a bit like, you know, when everyone's a bit... quite often, because like I said, it was definitely a move to the right, sometimes it was like I had people looking over my shoulder, but I was waving the flag of music. But sometimes it was a bit disheartening to have vocals over everything sometimes, you know. It was the climate, you know, it was back to songs, wasn't it, you know, and stop messing about. But I remember enjoying writing this thing called Ascent on the B-side of the album, you know, when they had vinyl 400 years ago.
What did you think?
Sorry, Mark, I'm just going to have to change
the speeding.
Okay, just talk about after Vienna. You just said that the next album, you know, Rage Vegan, was an awkward, difficult one. Explain a bit about that.
It was quite difficult because I think we kind of clammed up a little bit, you know. We had to do it now, and now was when Vienna was high in the charts, so we wanted to enjoy ourselves, basically go out and party, but we couldn't. We were there. No real. It kind of made us clam up a little bit, and we also knew that we had to do another Visage album, you know, and. But like it's kind of, you know, you can't blame anything for that. I mean, I was there hanging out early 1979 for something like Visage. It came along, it was great, and it was great, really good fun, and it did a lot.